Hello, welcome back to another video. Now in this video I'm going to be trying something a little different here. Usually when I do these unboxing videos, if you've been with me for a while, you know that the format of these videos have recently changed quite a bit because I'm just trying new things and whatnot. And I thought maybe I could have like a little me on the screen while I talk to basically, I guess, emote for me, be my emoter. I don't know. I'm just trying something new, and if it doesn't work out, then yeah, little me can go bye-bye. But if it does, maybe little me can stay in other videos. I'm just trying out new things and just seeing how well they work. But with that, let's talk about today's unboxing, that being the Transformers Legacy Transformers Armada Megatron, or it's just the Transformers Legacy Armada Megatron Leader Class. It's a very long name, but it's basically Armada Megatron, which actually finally revolves back to the whole point of this channel, which is anime, because Transformers Armada was an anime series, and not only that, it was the first true reboot of the Transformers franchise. Of course, we had Transformers Robots in Disguise 2001, but that was a show that originally wasn't a reboot, that then got brought over because of Hasbro to become a reboot. But the Transformers Armada series was the first series created to be a reboot, and as such, many people in the fandom consider it the true reboot, or at least the first reboot of the Transformers franchise. And in anticipation for all of these new Armada figures in the Legacy line, I decided to rewatch Transformers Armada. And the show itself, is it good? Probably not. Having said that, I still love the show, and it's probably my favorite show in terms of character design. It doesn't have my favorite Optimus Prime design, but it's definitely one of my favorites. And I don't think I really have a complaint with any of the Transformer designs in that show. I just love all of them. Well, Sideswipe maybe a little bit not as much, but for the rest of them, I really like their designs, and I think honestly it's probably my favorite designs of overall. In general, if we're talking about one show that had designs that I liked, it's probably Transformers Armada. But with that, let's talk about Megatron here, which looks great. All right, and here is Transformers Armada Megatron in his vehicle mode, which is, as you can see, it's an H-Tank. And in terms of accessories, well, he's got none, unless you count his horns, which can come off. Which do come off, as you can see. Don't know why, because I'm pretty sure it doesn't peg into anything except his head. But yeah, now you got yourself a horn. Cool. Accessories. Yay. Okay, so this is awkward, but turns out there actually was an accessory that I just completely forgot about, that being on the tip of the turret. You can actually remove that part and then attach it to his arm in robot mode, but I just keep it on the turret because it looks better that way. So yeah, completely forgot about that. But aside from that, the turret itself looks great, and there's even a mini turret on the back that you can pose and whatnot, although it does tend to pop out sometimes, which I don't think is supposed to happen, but it can be easily popped back in, so it's not a big deal. And unfortunately, the turret cannot spin a full 360, although I do think that has something to do with the robot mode, so we'll go into that later when we talk about his robot mode. But fortunately, you can move the turret up and down. Oh, and also there's a cool claw in front of the tank that's definitely not there because they couldn't hide his head. Now, this Megatron looks great, especially if you have the Armada Starscream from Legacy. I mean, you can really have him do whatever you want, from abusing Starscream to even waiting in a drive-thru. They're taking forever. Don't they know I just want my frappuccino? That's it. I'm not waiting anymore. And for comparison, here is the Transformers Combiner Wars Armada Megatron. Leader class Armada Megatron. And wow, they really don't make them like they used to, because jeez. I still prefer this vehicle mode over the Combiner Wars one because it's more accurate to the show, but man, this one is way bigger, and it has extra turrets that you can attach, and also real working treads, which the legacy one does not. It has wheels under, although that does mean that the Combiner Wars one doesn't roll as well as the legacy one, which can basically do Tokyo drifts anytime it wants. And can I just say, this does not look comfortable to be in. Megatron definitely has some cramps after being in tank mode for too long. Now for transformation, it was simple but really enjoyable still. For the most part, I had a great time with the transformation, and it's actually really fun because a lot of Transformers these days seem to have kind of complicated transformations, like the Studio Series Gamer Edition Bumblebee. But aside from that, the only real complaint I have with this transformation is that his toe joints are extremely tight on my figure. Like, you really have to put in the work just to get it to move. But aside from that, it's a really nice transformation that I actually do enjoy doing over and over again, which is nice. Reminds me of like the Combiner Wars days, where I mean every figure was basically the same, but I mean the transformation was at least enjoyable the first couple of times, at least. Yeah. And here is his robot mode, which looks fantastic. Now earlier I talked about how the turret could not spin a full 360, and that's because I think in robot mode, I think the official transformation is that you leave the turret hanging down like this, and this is pretty much where it locks out in the turret mode. So you know, it's the turret's not just sagging and touching the ground when he's in robot mode, which makes sense. And then as for where it locks on the other side, it basically locks at like a perfect horizontal line with Megatron. And I think this is so that you can do the Minicon power up that he could in the show, because Transformers Armada, the entire gimmick of the show was that there were Minicons, which were basically just smaller Transformers that would combine with the bigger bots, gave them cool power-ups and stuff like that. Only problem is that in the show, it was on the other side. So yeah. Now this figure does have some really nice ratchet joints to hold up this beefy figure, and while his posability is limited by how blocky he is, you still can get him into some pretty decent poses. And yes, the shoulder is a problem, where basically it doesn't tab into anything, so if you try to mess around with the arms, it does tend to just flop around. But all you really have to do there is just hold the shoulder while you're messing around with the arms. And yes, you can T-pose him, in case you were wondering. And I just gotta say, the head sculpt on this thing is beautiful. Just beautiful. Now, while this Megatron doesn't come with a Minicon, we can make substitutions. Leader 1 combined with Megatron to form his turret mode. And now his turret mode, to get into that, his top half is extremely stiff, and you gotta put a lot of work into actually twisting his torso, like with the toe joint from earlier. And but once you get that, you can turn him into his turret mode. Just make sure to not forget to transform the legs like I did the first time. Yeah. And now, while I'm pretty sure he never used his turret mode with his Minicon, and I'm pretty sure he only ever used it when he combined with Tidal Wave, I don't have a Tidal Wave, so this is the next best thing, okay? Aside from that, I do think it looks pretty good, even if it's a little silly. However, it unfortunately still can't rotate 360 degrees in this mode, and there seems to be some like paint splotches on it, but that's very minor. Overall, I think it's a really nice gimmick, and overall I just like it. Now, one thing you may notice is that one of his hands looks different from the other, and that's because the claw hand is a reference to when he had like his dagger gimmick, which isn't included with the figure. But what is included though is that you can attach his accessory to his arms to have, who knows, maybe it's a cannon, a flamethrower. Honestly, I don't know what it really is. Heck, it can even be a water hose for his garden in his free time that he tends to, you know? It could be anything. And one great thing about this figure is that it feels really robust and durable, especially after handling more fragile figures recently. It's just nice to have someone that you can just mess around with and have a fun time doing so. And you can put him to some pretty great poses like abusing Starscream.
Lord Megatron, the Autobots, they've infiltrated the base.
I see. You disappoint me yet again, Starscream.
But sir, it wasn't even my fault this time.
Well, you're still ugly.
Oh, okay, I see how it is. I'm sorry I didn't want my head to look like a utensil.
That's it. Leader 1, combine.
Swindle, combine!
Articulation wise, he has okay articulation. His shoulder pillars does have a flap that you can move so that you can get more articulation in the arms. And he also has an ankle tilt, although it's really tight, so you know, you gotta put a lot of force into it, which I guess does make sense because he is a pretty hefty figure. And then he also has okay knee bend, but I do wish he could at least bend the 90 degrees. But you know, because of how blocky he is, I can understand. And also, you can remove his horns for this really cursed look, in my opinion. Yeah, it just looks weird. Size comparisons. Here is him next to the Armada Starscream from Legacy, which is a Voyager class. You also have Voyager class Studio Series Revenge of the Fallen Megatron. Here's it next to the Combiner Wars Leader class Armada Megatron, and even though this one is bigger, the Legacy one is just way better. Just looks way better. Here is it next to Mini-Me, which is just the size of a high-grade Gundam. Here is it next to the Bionicle Toamata Tahu. And here is it next to the Mega Construx Eevee. So my overall thoughts on this figure is that he's great. He's just a fun time. And yeah, he's not perfect, but I love it, okay? I love Armada Megatron, I love Transformers Armada, and I love this figure. So if you're a fan of the series, then I highly recommend it. And yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. And I'll see you all next time for my next review. Bye. Well, it's unboxing, but yeah. Bye.